Welcome back. So I now have the honor to welcome to our stage our next leadership lesson, which is going to come to us from Mike Dykstra, CEO at Zeeland Lumber.
Good morning, everyone. I am honored and privileged to be on this platform with so many great leaders, both last year and this year at the CEO Summit. Kudos to the whole team at the Grand Rapids Chamber and all the people involved for pivoting and putting this into a live studio setting. It's fantastic. I hope to offer a few lessons along my leadership journey. So recently, after a visit to a team member, we call employees team members, to the county jail, I left the visit and mused to myself, wow, they don't teach you this in business school. You see, this team member that I was visiting, had been a great member of our team. He had come to us several years prior as a returning citizen, one who had been previously incarcerated in prison. Our company gave him a second chance, and he gave us more than we gave him. 5 years of great work, first in production, and then later promoted to a material handler position. But one day he was no longer in the workplace. And I asked around and found out he had some trouble, some legal trouble. So after finding out more about his situation and speaking with a few lawyers, a few visits to the jail, his case led him to serve some more time. It was an unfortunate reality, but the messy reality when hiring returning citizens. So I thought to myself, how did we get here in the first place? So everyone has a story. Here's my story of how the mentality towards a purpose-driven business has shaped our journey. After high school, I went to college to study criminal justice, but soon realized that this course of study was focused more on the punitive side of justice. So I changed to a political science major with minors in history and philosophy. So basically, I read a lot of books and wrote a lot of papers because I was more concerned with the restorative side of justice, and I felt this was a good pre-law degree. Instead of going to law school, I pivoted, and a few years after graduating college, I landed at a family business, Zeeland Lumber and Supply. And I loved it, and I dug in, and after many years of learning the industry and advancing through the business, I was given the opportunity through a leadership transition in 2010 for the leadership role that I'm in. This time I went back to school for an MBA. At that time, in 2010 through 2012, we laid out a vision and a strategy to grow our business, both regionally and with manufacturing value-add business of truss and wall panel components. Over the course of the last 10 years, we grew from one lumberyard location in Zeeland with roughly 100 team members serving West Michigan to now 6 locations in Zeeland and Grand Rapids serving West Michigan, Elkhart and Mishawaka serving Northern Indiana, and Waterford and Commerce serving East Michigan. In total, now we have 3 lumber and building material locations and 3 truss and wall panel operations with over 300 team members. As we grew the business those early years, we were thinking about our vision and our values, and I personally became increasingly more aware of the purpose motive in business, both for myself and for many in organizational life. I began to learn that doing good while doing well was good for business and good for the community. I began to learn that the triple bottom line approach can work in business. And I began to learn that the stakeholder view, which balances the needs of shareholders, team members, customers, suppliers, and the community, really is the most sustainable view on business. So we started as a team to build our business around our foundation of purpose, vision, and values. In his book, Drive, Daniel Pink makes the case that team members are motivated by 3 things: autonomy, mastery, and purpose. People really want to work for an organization that is bigger than itself, making a positive impact in the world. In the book, Conscious Capitalism, Whole Foods CEO John McKay and co-author Raj Sisodia wrote that the 4 tenets of conscious capitalism are: number 1, higher purpose; number 2, stakeholder integration; number 3, conscious leadership; and number 4, conscious culture and management. And Simon Sinek really pushes the purpose motive in his book. It starts with why. If you've seen the 3 circles, why is at the center. Why are we in business in the first place? What is our purpose? Then how? How do we operate? And then what? What are we doing? What's our strategy? And yet, with all this momentum towards a purpose-driven business philosophy, capitalism still gets a bad rap, and many people are still not engaged in their work. Recently, according to the Edelman Trust Barometer, 56% of respondents agree that capitalism as it exists today does more harm than good. And yet 73% of respondents, almost 3/4, are looking to the business community to positively impact the future. 64% of respondents would consider themselves belief-driven buyers. So our opportunity as business leaders is great to use our businesses as forces for good. And there is a lot of momentum around the purpose-driven business philosophy. So I believe that there are multiple areas for business leaders to focus on to increase employee engagement, and that every team member needs to be valued, respected, trusted, and heard. And I believe that purpose is also great for team member engagement. So in our small business, in our small way, with this thinking in mind, we centered around our purpose of transforming lives and communities while serving custom building product solutions. So how do we transform lives and communities? So we talk about it in a few different ways. Number one, by the very work we do, we are part of a critical supply chain that builds homes, apartments, and commercial buildings where families, businesses, and communities live, grow, and thrive. Number two, internally, our individual team members' lives are transformed and made better through training, education, development, new skills learned, promotion, economic benefit, financial and physical health. And number three, externally, we transform lives and communities by giving back to the community, not just financially, but also by sending teams with paid time off to do volunteer work with partnering nonprofit organizations. Many people listening today do a lot of those same things. But then we also added in how we transform lives and communities by hiring returning citizens. So when we began to grow in those early years coming out of the Great Recession, we found we needed new team members in a tightening labor market. So we started to look at alternative talent pools. We became educated and open to hiring returning citizens, people that have been incarcerated before. We worked with nonprofit agencies and recruiting and placement organizations to help us identify people that have a felony in their past, but that want to improve their life. The idea to hiring returning citizens matched economic and business needs with the purpose to transform lives and communities. We developed a robust vetting process and learned best practices when hiring returning citizens. We became first concerned if the individual skill set matches the job requirements, and then secondly, what their past challenges were. Statistics show that if a returning citizen has housing and a job, recidivism is reduced by 90%. We feel that really transforms lives and communities. So we feel if we can help someone with a job and other organizations help with the housing needs and other needs of support, that there's a good chance that this individual will not return to prison and be on the journey of a productive life. When hiring returning citizens, we often begin employment in our production manufacturing environment. It is a structured, controlled environment and away from customer-facing activities. And many returning citizen team members work in that environment for several years. Others apply for and are promoted internally to jobs such as material handler, truck driver, or office positions. We've found some amazing talent with diverse work and education experience in this talent pool. So when thinking about hiring people that have been in prison, consider a few thoughts. By age 23, 1 in 3 Americans have been arrested, resulting in between 70 to 100 million people in the US that have a criminal record. Consider this, 2 people could commit the same crime, and one could get a misdemeanor and one a felony, depending on race, socioeconomics, access to legal expertise, and other factors. Consider this, returning citizens are found to be successful, loyal, solid workers, and there's no data showing that there's an increasing danger to workplace violence. So the bottom line for us, returning citizens make up between 10 to 15% of our workforce. of over 300 team members, and we've just experienced great results. What are some of those results? Well, we've experienced the benefits of reduced turnover, higher productivity, and great loyalty from this talent pool that is often ignored. Other benefits include increased diversity, a positive impact on company culture, and a more understanding perspective on people from various backgrounds among our coworkers. So there's a clear business case to hiring returning citizens, which includes all the benefits of having a productive, loyal workforce to help us as we serve our customers. And we put in the purpose motive with the added benefit that we're helping someone on their journey to becoming a productive member of society. I will say there are times that it doesn't work and the employment relationship ends abruptly for a variety of reasons. And there are times people leave us for another endeavor and we're maybe just part of their story for a time, maybe one rung on the ladder of their journey. But most of the time, returning citizens are long-term team members. Our experience shows turnover to be the same or better in our returning citizens segment than our general employee population. We have found some amazing people that just needed someone to give them a second chance. And given the right workplace environment, many have been able to thrive. Recently, I read this LinkedIn post from a former team member. He wrote, 8 years ago, I was nowhere near where I am now. I was finishing up a sentence of 100 months in a maximum security federal prison. From then till now, I've had the opportunity to work with some amazing people and learn a multitude of new skills, as well as siphon the wisdom from those who had it to offer. I run my own business now, and I've been in the process of acquiring more assets and expanding the breadth of my business ventures. I come to this platform to say that regardless of how bad it was, if you keep working and learning, you can get to where you want to be. I offer my sincere gratitude to everyone who has taught me and influenced me along the way. So I happen to know this team member, and he worked for our company for 2 years. So we were part of his journey. And after getting his feet on the ground and stabilizing his life, he was able to pursue another path in his career. So we believe this all transforms lives and communities. Recently, I was on a tour at Ionia State Prison, the Hanlon Correctional Facility, and was very impressed with the vocational training taking place. Many enthusiastic trainers and learners were working through certifications in the areas of carpentry and construction, welding, CNC operations, and mechanics. There are over 7,000 people released every year in Michigan. Not all of them have this training, and not all of them are ready for work, but many are, and there's a huge opportunity for businesses. I'd be remiss to say that we could not do this work without the ecosystem of support that we are so blessed with in West Michigan. We have a highly collaborative community where people roll up their sleeves to solve common problems. And many businesses have gone before us and have allowed us to collaborate with them to learn and establish best practices. Partnering nonprofit organizations and recruiting agencies have helped us along the way and continue to come alongside us and others on our journey. The list is so long that I intentionally don't want to mention any by name for concern that I would miss anyone. But the bottom line for us is without doing some learning, dialogue, and hard work on laying the foundation for purpose, vision, and values, we may not have been ready to hire returning citizens. But coming from a belief that making profit and making the world a better place can happen together, we went down this road. And this fueled our thought for purpose and ultimately to initiatives to hire returning citizens. We have a unique opportunity as business leaders to focus beyond the profit motive and in so doing, change the trajectory for the people and communities that we serve. This is motivating to team members, makes the world a better place, and more people are looking for businesses to be actively involved with improving the lives, communities, and environment of everything they touch. I know many of you are on this journey in many different ways, and we are just a drop in the bucket. I just believe you change the world one individual at a time, and this is our story. So in closing, this leads me to the time recently that I visited our team member in jail. You know, at first I was very disappointed that it ended this way. He was disappointed in himself, and I was disappointed that we were losing a great team member, and that so much talent is wasted with him going back into the prison system. But I was also grateful that we were able to partner with him for 5 years in a mutually beneficial relationship, and maybe we'll see him again someday. I very much appreciate the platform to share our journey. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen, and have a great day.
Thanks, Mike. Making a profit and having a positive impact can happen together. Let's all take that from Mike's story and Zeeland Lumber's story. We're going to take a brief commercial break and hear from some of our sponsors ahead of our next panel discussion.